Hello, Rich. Okay, so sorry for how long it took. I'm gonna be doing this at work. So I'm gonna explain things as best as I can, and try not to go off track because I'm kind of ADD. But so we're gonna start with your sun sign, which is a sign that everyone knows. Okay, so your sun sign. This is a sign that everyone knows because it's literally your birthday. You don't need your birth time, whatever, right? So your sun sign is gonna be your personality traits, your characteristics, how your coworkers, friends, family know you as, just like the basic personality traits and characteristics of who you are, and that is an Aquarius, okay? Aquarius is an earth or air sign. First thing you know, there are 4 elements, okay? There's water, earth, fire, and air. Okay, so fire and air are a good combination, water and earth are a good combination. Water and fire clash, earth and air clash. Anyways, so with that being said, you are an air sign. Okay, and before I even get into this, you are also, okay, you have a bunch of Aquarius in your chart, goddamn. Okay, so your rising sign is also Aquarius. Your rising is how people perceive you as, say you're in the line at a grocery store, right? And or say you're meeting someone for the first time, like your friend's friend, or say you're meeting a girl for the first time and how she might perceive you based off that initial interaction. That's going to be your rising sign, and it does come into play a little bit with your actual personality, and yours definitely will because it's Aquarius rising and sun and Mercury and Uranus. Okay, so anyways, Aquarius I believe is ruled by Jupiter. I need to, what planet is Jupiter or fucking Aquarius ruled by? Saturn. Okay, ruled by Saturn, and then okay, so your chart ruler, before we get started, your chart ruler is basically whatever sign is, okay, so Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, right? So whatever your sign is in Saturn is going to be your chart ruler, right? Your Saturn is in Aries, so Aries is your chart ruler. So basically Aries, which is a fire sign, is going to be playing an influence on every aspect of your chart. Your sun, moon, rising, Venus, Mercury, all of it is going to be influenced by Aries. Okay, so we'll get into that in a bit, but first, let's go back to the sun sign, right? So Aquarius is, these are like the most common things for Aquarius. First of all, they're, hold on. I'm going to write down how many fixed, cardinal, and mutable you have. And then I'm also going to write how many femme, masculine, and then water, earth, fire, and air. Okay, so first of all, we already have 2 air signs, which are both, I believe, feminine and masculine signs. I kind of forget sometimes, so I have to just make sure that I have it on here. So those Aquarius are 2 masculine, so you have 2 masculine so far, and then both fixed signs. Okay, so anyways, so with your sun sign, right? Aquariuses are air signs, so air signs are typically more talkative, so it's an air sign, right? So think of they're in the clouds, right? They can tend to be pretty social. However, Aquariuses are the one air sign that I would say is the least social. They can be if they want to be, but okay, so here's the biggest thing that I've seen from Aquariuses, right? A lot of people don't understand Aquariuses or think they're emotionally detached. Aquariuses, for the most part, really do not give a single shit about what anyone thinks about them. And since a lot of people don't understand them, they're not a people pleaser, and they're not the type of person to go out of their way to try and get someone to figure them out. If you understand them, you understand them, and if you don't, they really don't give a fuck. That's not their problem. They'll be friends with people that actually get them, and if you don't get them, they're not going to even put in the effort to try to make you understand them at all. They also come across a lot to people, and since it's your rising, how people perceive you, and also your sun, people probably think you're emotionally detached, and that's probably how you come across with maybe cold, distant, hard to interact with at first because you might seem a little bit closed off. But however, keep in mind this whole time, Aries is influencing all of this, and Aries is the most extroverted, high energy fire sign, super talkative, super social, So that does come into play a little bit. So if you're not relating and you think that people do see you as like more like, they're either going to see you as closed off and detached, or they're going to see you as like, you're super talkative at first and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes Aries can be introverts. It really just depends. But at the end of the day, they're like, if they're introverts, they're life of the party with their friends. If they're extroverts, they're life of the party all the time, and they have so much nonstop energy just going through them. They're a fire sign. They're crazy as fuck. I'm an Aries moon. Anyways, sorry if I'm talking really fast. And then we have, Aquarius sun and Aquarius rising, okay? So basically, like I said, detached, whatever. They don't care what people think about them. A lot of times Aquariuses are very creative, and that doesn't necessarily mean like in an artistic aspect, but creative maybe in their ideas, in their way of thinking. A lot of times Aquariuses are free thinkers, and they think for themselves, and they don't tend to like religion or anything that has like a conforming social norm. They're very much against social norms, and they kind of just, they're free thinkers. They think outside of the box. And they're also very stubborn, and they don't really care if you don't agree with whatever their belief is. They're not going to try to preach that on you. Aquariuses are also known for being humanitarian, so they often care about the benefit of society in general, and like helping people or helping animals or whatever it is. Like, you may have a strong instinct to want to help others or help animals or help the good of humanity. That's a very big Aquarius trait. Another thing about Aquarius is they're a fixed sign, right? So besides, I already explained to you the 4 elements, okay? But Aquarius is a fixed sign. So there's fixed, cardinal, and mutable, okay? Fixed, they fixate on things. So for example, right, say you find a song or an artist or like an album, right, and you find an album that you really like, you might listen to that album, that artist, or that song on repeat over and over every fucking day, like maybe like 15 times a day. I'm a fixed sign too, so I do this all the time. So you might have something that you like fixate on, and you just like keep listening to it over and over again until you know every word and you hate it. Or even like maybe you might find like a really good food spot, right, and you're just gonna keep going there because you're a fixed sign. And like, you find something and you fixate on it and you keep going towards that. Do you know what I mean? So that can be a really big thing for you. You might fixate on problems with people around you. You might fixate on people. Like, you might, just in Capricorn, you might fixate on people. I feel like you would probably fixate more on like whatever your whatever situation you have going on, whatever project you have going on, whatever idea you have going on, whatever focus you have, you might really fixate on that for a while and stay stuck on things and have a tendency to maybe even procrastinate because you're thinking so much instead of taking action. Whereas a cardinal sign, right, which is Aries is cardinal, so Aries takes action, and like I said, that's influencing your whole chart. Aries is go, 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 go. I get what I want. I take action. I do this, and I do this fast, like blah, blah, blah. I want to move. Fixed are like, I don't want to move anywhere. I'm content where I am. Also, being an Aquarius, you might be very content, more content, I would say. Just, you're good, like just kicking it at home with your friends or at a small little kickback, not doing anything crazy. You're chilling, just watching TV, eating some fucking food. Like, you don't really need to be constantly doing something. However, you have this Aries that's influencing you. So sometimes you might have the urge to just go out and fucking go crazy and fucking party your ass off, But for the most part, what I'm seeing is that you probably, since you do have so much Aquarius in your chart, you literally have 5 Aquarius placements, which is a lot, like a lot of Aquarius. You probably are better with like a smaller group of people, one-on-one, not doing anything too crazy all the time. You might have sudden urges, but it's not very often, okay? So, that's basically how I would sum up Aquarius. And then let's go to your rising sign, even though that's Aquarius as well. Rising is how other people perceive you, that you're just first meeting. And so, yeah, they're probably going to think that you're either like an asshole. I've known a lot of Aquarius risings will come across as rude. Like, people will think they're rude or an asshole or whatever. And it's mainly because they don't really give a fuck enough to try to get to know people. Like, if you want to try to get to know them, that's cool. But they're not going to go out of their way to introduce themselves to you or really try to talk to you and get to know you unless they find that you're a unique individual. But if you're not a unique person or you don't have something that, like, draws their attention, and they think you're boring, they're not even gonna bother. So people might think you're standoffish and no, you just don't really care to associate with people that are not on the same level as you, and you don't care to put yourself out there to those people. You're okay being by yourself. You're okay having your small group of friends. Like, that's cool with you. You don't need to be making new connections all the time. You don't care about that. Another thing about Aquarius that I was just about to say, and I lost my train of thought. What was it? Oh, there's something really big about Aquarius is. Fuck. Ah, damn. I'm trying to think. There's something huge about Aquarius, and I'm like, what is it? Let me think for a second. I'm gonna just see if that comes back to me later. But yeah, Aquarius is interesting people, known to be pretty intellectual, known to be closed off at first. This is what I'm gonna say. So the biggest thing is emotional detachment. People think you're emotionally detached. You might be. However, you're Leo's in Moon, so probably not. That's probably just how people perceive you, and that's probably how you want to come across to others, possibly, because Aquariuses have a very big guard up. Aquariuses are one of the smarter signs, more intellectual, and they know that they can't just fucking be giving their energy out to all these random people, you know? They're gonna have their guard up. They're not gonna be super friendly to everyone that they first meet. They have their fucking guard up, you know? They're not... It's not that they're emotionally attached. You could be, but for the most part, what I found with most Aquariuses is they may struggle expressing their emotions because, like, they're scared to express their emotions, and that's a really big problem that a lot of Aquariuses have to work on, is being okay to express those emotions to other people instead of just burying them so deep inside of themselves and just coming across to people or potential people that you like as being detached. Okay, so now let's move on to Leo, your moon sign. Okay, so your big three are your rising, sun, and moon, okay? So this is the way I look at it. This is what it is. Rising, how random people you meet, first time impressions, right? Like, just met you, how people, even social media as well, like how people portray you on there, that's your rising sign, okay? Then your sun is how, you know, like I said, coworkers, friends, family, like that's how they all know you as, right? And then your moon sign is your like innermost self. And I feel like the people that are closest to you, the people that know you really well, like the family members that know you really well, your friends that are really, really close to you are going to see you as your moon sign more than the other two, okay? So your moon sign is Leo, which is a fire sign, okay? So, and then it complements well with your sun, because sun and moon, like mine, my sun is water and then my moon is fire, okay? So your sun is air and your moon is fire, and those two, like I said before, air and fire complement each other very nicely, so that's a very good placement. Also, Aquarius and Leos are very like compatible. It's a very good, it complements each other very nicely, okay? So Leo is also a fixed sign, so you're probably kind of lazy. You probably procrastinate on shit. But once in a while, because of this Aries chart ruler, you might get a random burst of energy and just start banging shit out or start doing a bunch of shit. But for the most part, you're just trying to chill. Or you might procrastinate, you might be lazy, you might be a little messy, whatever. It's a big thing about fixed signs. So you have another fixed sign, and I believe Leo is masculine. Yeah, it is. So now we have 3 masculine so far. Okay, Leo moons. Okay, so this is like how you respond. Moon is how you emotionally respond to things, like your inner emotions and how you really feel inside, and like basically your truest self, I feel like, is always going to be your moon sign, okay? So your moon sign is in Leo. Leo is a fire sign, like I said. They're also fixed, like I said. Leos can be very dramatic. They really like in a relationship, they really want attention from their person 24/7. Like they love attention from their person. They want it all the time, okay? Like they love attention, and they love like being the center of attention. They love being in the spotlight. However, that would be more of a Leo sun, and you're a Leo moon, because Aquarius is hate being in the spotlight. So you probably aren't like on that type of shit, but I feel like you're probably more like in relationships or like with a close group of friends. Like you like to be like the life of the party. You like to be kind of the center of attention. People may call you dramatic. But you're also, Leos are also known for being very loyal, right? So I feel like if you were to get fucked over by someone, you would be really upset and not just sad. I think since it's a fire sign, emotionally you would respond pretty angrily if someone were to fuck you over. Leos are the one fire sign I don't see with a bunch of anger issues. I don't see them snapping all the time. They might get mad, but they're not as like intense as the Aries. However, you have Aries influencing this. So you might snap on people out of nowhere. You might get mad out of nowhere. And I don't know if I mentioned how Aquariuses are very blunt, and if they don't agree with something, or if they feel like someone is saying something that is not right, and they feel the need to, that they feel like they need to address it, they will say it, and they will say it bluntly, and they don't really have a filter. That's how Aquariuses are. Or they won't say anything at all, and they just won't even want to talk to you, okay? So back to your moon in Leo. I'm trying to think how else like Leo's moons respond. They like attention. They like people, you know, giving them attention. They're also like a very like, they'll give you a lot of attention, but they expect that back. And if you can't give them that back, it's going to make them really upset. Like, so say like emotionally, right? Like say you write something really long to someone or whatever, you do so, a grand gesture to someone. Leos are a lion. So they are, you know, they do grand gestures, are big, you know, and, say you do a grand gesture for someone and they don't really respond the way that you think they should have responded, like that might make you really mad, or that might make you really upset. I'm trying to think how you would react emotionally with your Aquarius. You're kind of like, you're either gonna react really strongly or you're just gonna internalize it because your Aquarius is so emotionally detached and not show anything at all, or you're just gonna let them, like, you're gonna be very upset, you're gonna be very bothered, you're gonna say something about it. You may not say it to that person, but you might say it to your friends, blah blah blah, whatever. Leos are very low sign, like I said, so if someone betrays them, it's really going to hurt them deeply. But the good thing about Leo being a moon sign is you're not gonna be the most emotional person ever. Like water sign moons are super fucking emotional and crybabies, and I don't really see you being like that. Leo is the most crybaby fire sign, and they are like the most like sensitive, I would say, because like they like their attention, they like being coddled, you know, and they will do the same for the other person. But I don't see you as being a super emotional person, especially but now that I'm looking at the rest of your chart, I just don't see it. Anyways, so now moving on to your Mercury, right? So Mercury, you also have an Aquarius. You have so much fucking Aquarius in your chart, dude. So basically, you're like everything that I said about Aquarius, like that's probably going to be the most like resonating with you, okay? So another fixed, you were definitely fucking lazy. I'm not saying you're going to be lazy in all aspects because, but you're definitely going to be lazy or procrastinate or think and take action very slowly and think about it for too long. Sometimes too long. But yeah, because you're very fixed and you probably do fixate on a lot of things. I don't see you fixating on relationships, however, because I'll get into that with the next one, but you're probably fixating on like if you have like a certain interest, like hobby or passion or something that you do for work, that's where I see you maybe being lazy or procrastinating on sometimes, or fixating and like not obsessing over. You don't have like really obsessive places, more just like fixating on that and like thinking about it a lot and like not really thinking about anything else and doing that for a long amount of time. Or even if it's just like fucking music, you know, listening to the same shit over and over and over again and shit like that. So anyways, Mercury is in Aquarius, so that's your intellect. So Mercury is a planet of intellect and communication. So how you communicate with people, you're probably going to speak pretty fluently, and you're going to speak a lot when you are comfortable with someone, because like I said, Aquarius can be closed off. But then that Aries chart ruler, I don't know, you might actually be like pretty fucking say whatever you want. You might be pretty blunt. Aquariuses have a tendency to be like I said, kind of assholes, a little bit of a smart ass. So you might say, like, the way that you communicate, it might be a little harsh on people. Some people may not be able to take it because you're probably pretty blunt or harsh. You're not you're not sugarcoating things, okay? You also like to talk about probably like whatever you find is like trippy or interesting, because like I said, Aquariuses are very unique people and they have a lot of unique interests and passions. So you might find yourself talking, like, you like to talk about like trippy things and like cool little, like, if you're into music, like, you might really like to talk about music, like, in depth, like, not just like on the surface level, like, oh, it's a really good artist. Like, you might want to talk in depth about music, or like you might even be into conspiracy theories. That's more of a Scorpio thing, but Aquariuses, I've found, like to talk about trippy subjects to them, whatever that may be. And there's many different ways you can define trippy. For me, it's like conspiracy theories, but for you, it might be something else. But yeah, so, and like I said, you probably speak freely with your friends, because like an air sign, you know, it's air, okay? So you speak freely, like you flow with, you know, you might be a little bit of a chatterbox when you're with your close friends. I don't know if you're like that all the time. Your Aries chart ruler may make you a chatterbox all the time, and you may talk a lot to people and shit if it's something that interests you. But if it's not something that interests you, and if it's a subject you don't care about, you might just completely keep your mouth shut, because you just don't give a fuck to engage in that conversation, okay? So now we're gonna go to Venus in Capricorn. Let me just make sure I got all this. Yes, I did. Okay. So now you have your Venus in Capricorn. I believe that is a feminine sign. Let me see. Yep. Okay. This is the first cardinal besides your Aries chart ruler that I've seen, and is the first feminine. Okay, so Venus in Capricorn. Okay, that's an earth sign. That's also your first earth sign. And then, okay, let me think on this for a second. So, okay, so Capricorns are very, first of all, they're very loyal. So Venus, oh, let me get this straight. So Venus is about love and relationships, okay, right? So, coming into play with everything else in your chart, you probably want someone that is, like, stimulating you and understands you completely. And if they don't, like, you don't want someone that doesn't understand you completely, like, for who you are, and doesn't accept that, and, like, is also probably a weird or, like, interesting, unique person. Otherwise, you're not really going to be interested in them. You need someone with, like, a bit of a personality. You can't just have, like, some boring ass, like, fucking person. You want someone with a personality or, like, intellect, and, like, can understand whatever conversations and whatever interests you have. You want that person to be able to talk about them with you. Capricorns, their, like, love language is showing, it's like showing favors, or like the way that they show someone that they care about them is like less like gifts and material things, but more, because it's an earth sign, right? Down to earth, grounded, okay? So it's more like doing favors for that person, going out of their way to help that person if they need help with a certain thing, or like maybe even building them something, right? Or like creating something for them, but mainly just like doing tasks for them and helping them on day-to-day things. And like that's the way that you show your love and appreciation to that person. Capricorn Venus is a very loyal sign. It's an earth sign. They're normally very, very loyal. I've met some that are not, but since it's in Venus, you're probably a pretty loyal person. I mean, Leo's super loyal. Aquarius it depends. Aries are not, and that influences it. So, but for the most part, I'm assuming that you are a pretty fucking loyal person when it comes down to it. When you're serious about someone, if you don't take that person seriously, if you don't respect them, then you're not going to be loyal to them. But if it's someone that you do take seriously and you do plan on having a long-term thing with, you are going to be loyal to them. But it might take a lot for you to get there. Capricorns can be very picky. Capricorns can also tend to be a little bit but judgmental, okay? So, like, you might be pretty judgmental with people that you first meet. Capricorns are also a cardinal sign. Like I said, cardinal before is what takes action, gets what they want. So you're definitely going to pursue people. If you find someone interesting or even attractive, you're going to be the one to make the move. You have no, like, you want, like, what you want. And, like, if you see a girl that you want, you're going to go after that girl. You are going to pursue it. You're not fucking a guy that waits around for it to come to you. Like, you have no problem pursuing things because you're a cardinal sign. Capricorns in relationships, they might get a little bit distracted, and their partner might be a little upset with them at times, because Capricorns are also very work motivated and oriented. So sometimes they might stray a little bit to their work or their project or whatever they're working on, and kind of distance themselves from their partner without even realizing it. And the partner can get upset because it's like, why aren't you spending time with me? And the Capricorn, like, you need someone that understands, like, you have a work or a project or a passion that you need to work on, and you need that time for yourself, and you can't just be catering to this person 24/7. But with your Leo moon, you do want a lot of attention from them, so it's kind of conflicting right there. What else about Capricorns? Very hardworking. What else? I'm trying to think what else about Capricorns, because I know so many. Venus in Capricorn. Well, hardworking. Hold on. Let me, sometimes if I'm not too familiar, if I haven't met a lot, like a certain placement, I'll just look it up and see a few more things so I can, and then I'm gonna do the second part of this reading out. I want feedback from you from this reading to tell me what's accurate and what wasn't accurate. If it was all accurate, great, and then I'll continue the rest of the reading where I go a little more in depth in your aspects and whatnot. But so this is gonna be our last sign that I explain, and then I'm gonna explain how much fixed, cardinal, mutable, feminine, and masculine, and then how much water, earth, fire, and air you have in your chart. Okay, so anyways. You want stability. Capricorns, like I said, an earth sign, they want stability, they're grounded, they have their head on their shoulders. You want stability in a relationship, you want commitment. If you're going to be in a real relationship, it's in it for the long run, it's in it to be loyal, you're not fucking around. But until you found that person, you're probably going to fuck around. You are interested in powerful women. You might be attracted to older women. Let's see. What else? Fuck. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably, you want someone that's, like, hardworking as well. You want someone that's about their shit, like boss bitch, you know what I mean? You want someone that's on your level and that understands that they have their work or their project and you have yours, but at the end of the day, you can come together. You want someone that's going to be committed. You want stability in the relationship. You can tend to have, like, a bit of an asshole side, but once they really get to know you, like, you also have a very, very funny side in relationships, because Capricorns have a really good sense of humor when they open up. So you might find yourself, like, as soon as you feel comfortable enough with that person, like, your funny side, like, that side will come out in relationships a lot. You might have had, like, a lot of girls in the past tell you, like, once they really get to know you, that you're, like, fucking hilarious, because most Capricorns are. Okay, so now I'm going to see, so you have 7 masculine, 3 fire. You only have 1 earth sign, which is a Capricorn. 4 air and 2 water, and then you have 5 fixed, 2 cardinal, and 3 mutable. Okay, so you're way more masculine than feminine. You're probably, like, a manly man. You probably don't have really, like, a feminine side to you. You're not super like in touch with your emotions like the feminine guys would be more. You're very masculine, because you're way more masculine. You're like 70% masculine and 30% feminine. I'll explain that later in the next video, but then for your cardinal, like I said, cardinal is take action, do this, I want this, I'm gonna go get it. Fix is like, I like stability, I like staying in the same place, I can fix it on things, people, situations, problems, etc. Then mutable is kind of, I go with the flow, whatever comes my way, like, you know, I'm down to do this, I'm down to do this, whatever. But you're the most fixed by far, so you probably fixate on things, people. You can be lazy, you might be a little bit messy at times. Yeah, and you like stability. You are probably comfortable, like, staying in the same spot for a long amount of time. You're not trying to jump around to different places constantly. Like I said, you like kickbacks with your friends, you like chill and just, you know, being in a certain area for a long amount of time. You're not moving around a lot. And then, let's see what else. And then you have the most air in your chart. you have one earth sign, so you're not very earthy. You're probably not like the most, like, you probably don't come across as super genuine and down to earth and like humble and blah blah blah, because that's how earth signs are. You probably come across as more you could be somewhat of an extrovert. I could see that being a possibility because your Aries chart ruler, but like I said, Aquariuses are not typically extroverted. But you probably have very good social skills, and you probably get mad easily sometimes. And then your water, yeah, you're definitely, I don't see you being a very emotional person. I don't see you crying a lot. I don't think that words hurt you very much. I don't think that you get affected or offended or sensitive to a lot of things, because water signs are super, super sensitive, and you barely have any of that. And you may have your head in the clouds at times. It might be a bit of an idealistic. You may not think decisions through before you make them, and have a tendency to be a little bit impulsive. Because you're really, like, you're probably not very grounded. Your head's probably in the fucking clouds, because you have the most, like I said, air, right? Head in the clouds. So you're kind of idealistic in your own world. I'm going to finish this now. I'm going to upload it right now. Let me know what you think. Ask me if you have any questions at all that you want me to answer, clarify, or any advice that you want in the next reading, and any feedback. If I was wrong completely, if I was accurate completely, or whatever, just give me feedback. And then once you give me the feedback, I will create the next video and we'll go more into depth. I hope you enjoyed.